Welcome, fellow Toastmasters and guests. This meeting of online presenters has now begun. Guests, please note that in order to be a member of our club, you must be a current or former active member of Toastmasters International and have completed at least 6 Toastmaster official speeches. If you have substantial relevant presentation experience, you may apply for membership after demonstrating your abilities in a 2 to 3 minute speech delivered during one of our club meetings. All requests for membership are subject to approval by the members of our club. If you have not already done so, please change your panel to ensure it shows your name and role. If you have one, right-click and select Rename to do so. We have members and guests from many countries throughout the world. Thus, as a professional organization, we ask that you please be aware of language or word usage that may be considered offensive or otherwise insensitive due to cultural differences. Please note that we will be recording the meeting. Your video and audio contribution may be used for club marketing purposes. Also, please mute your microphone when you're not speaking. Please welcome our club president, DTM, Andrew Byrne.
Welcome, everybody. This, for those that are not familiar with it, this is Online Presenters. Our theme, Online Presenters, is to help each and every one of our members get better at presenting online. We are a virtual-only club with an international membership around the globe. We recognize everybody here, and we have unique things that are unique to our club. For example, we have Tip of the Day by a member that talks about some technology. We also have once a month a speak-a-thon to allow more of our members to get an opportunity to speak and be evaluated. Somebody's mic is on. We also have some unique evaluation process, and we have generally a great time. So we welcome everybody who's viewing this either on Zoom or online or on Facebook or other places that we're sending this feed to, and we hope to hear from you. Back to you, Toastmaster of the Day.
Thank you very much, Andrew, our club president. My name is Andrei Smolenko. I'm a member of Online Presenters, and I'm your Toastmaster of the Day. Just to brief you quickly what's going to happen today. Today is a very, very special evening, not because of the theme of the day. And the theme of the evening is keep calm and carry on, as you probably guessed. Interestingly, that's keep calm and carry on. This poster has been produced by the British government in 1939, right before the Second War started. And the main reason for this poster was to boost the morale of the people who were scared of shelling and bombing of British main cities. Then for a long, long time, it was abandoned as the idea. Then somewhere in about 2020, it was rediscovered again. And now you can recognize it easily on posters, on mugs, all over the place, even in some people's bedrooms. This is why I think this carefully chosen phrase, keep calm and carry on, is important for the time we all live in. This is the theme of the evening. We have the word of the evening as well. And I think grammarian would probably introduce that word later on. The exciting part of the evening, apart from being calm and carrying on, is that our event, our meeting, is being streamed live through Facebook Live and to our Facebook page. Online Presenters, we have Facebook page, and we post regularly on what we do. So perhaps our David Carr would be able to post the link in the chat. So please share that link on your Facebook page. That would attract more people, and we'll see. We may see new faces very soon. So you are live on Facebook and you can see yourself in a minute in the chat. The meeting of online presenters will be run smoothly as we always do. However, I'm not going to do it all by myself. I will introduce an army of helpers, people dedicated to making sure evening is success. I'm going to quickly remind you about the structure of the evening. Introductions of the supporting officers and roles. Then we're going to have a tip of the day, very unique to online presenters, tip on leadership or other technical skills. Then we have prepared speeches. We have 2 excellent speakers today on our menu. Later on, we move to table topics, impromptu speaking, very short speech, 2 to 3 minutes, where up to 2 minutes, where you need to grab the audience. Then evaluation, and we're going to wrap up with all the people who had a role today and been helping to run this meeting with the short notes. So this is what's going to happen during the evening today. Let me start with probably a simple thing. I would like our very important person for this evening, who is our timer, Sarah Idahan. Please introduce your role. Tell us about what you're going to do.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As timer, I will be keeping time for the various things that we'll be doing in the meeting tonight. For speakers, their speaking will be 5 to 7 minutes. At 5 minutes, I will go green. At 6 minutes, yellow, and at 7 minutes, red. For our evaluators, we'll have 2 to 3 minutes. So at 2 minutes, it'll be green, at 2.5, yellow, and at 3 minutes, red. For our tip, we will have, which is 3 to 5 minutes. So at 3, it'll be green, 4, yellow, and 5 red. And of course, our table topics are 1 to 2 minutes. And it will be green at 1, yellow at 1.5, and red at 2. Back to you, Mr. Table Topics, Mr. Toastmaster.
Toastmaster of the evening. Thank you very much, Sarah, for your introduction to your role. Very important. Just to let you know, I pinned Sarah, our timer, on your top left corner of the screen, and you cannot change this order. I've done it for the convenience of the speakers. So she's pinned left top corner, especially for the attention of speakers. So you can see the timer and you can know how you're doing in terms of time. Before I introduce other roles of the people who are helping me to run this meeting, I would like to introduce Graham Carnes, who will be doing the tip of the day. Graham Carnes, tip of the day.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. In fact, I believe we are all Toastmasters here, although a couple may be guests to this club. Online presenters. The name is on the tin. It's what we do. We're all about learning the skills of presenting in an online environment. And one of the things that we are learning to do here is how to use the technology effectively to present. We've all seen, and in fact, many of us have done PowerPoint presentations during a speech where the speaker effectively disappears. They are in a tiny little box off on the side, and all you see is the PowerPoint screen. We've all seen that? Show of hands, anybody who hasn't seen that? There are ways around that. Now, there are some really super whiz-bang high-tech ways around that. There is, for example, OBS, which is a bit of software that you can run, which will allow you to have 2 screens at the same time. There are lots of other ways of doing it, but quite frankly, that's a bit like reinventing the wheel. We all have access to Zoom because we are all here in a Zoom meeting. What I'm going to be showing you today is a very brief way of presenting PowerPoint with you as part of the PowerPoint screen. Now, does anybody not know how this is done? If you all know how it's done, I can stop. No, seriously, sometimes we need a reminder. If you look at your screen at the moment, down the bottom, you'll see a share screen button. There'll be a mute and a stop video and a participants and a chat and a share screen. You can all see the share screen? Yes. I'd like you to click on that share screen and you'll notice that it brings up a white box which says select a window or an application that you want to share. Now, you will be on basic. At the very top, it'll say basic, advanced, and files. You will currently be on basic. If instead you click on advanced, you'll notice there's a whole lot of other options come up, including PowerPoint as virtual background, portion of screen, computer audio, video, and content from second camera. To use PowerPoint as a virtual background, it is as simple as click on PowerPoint as a virtual background, and then you click on the share button. Don't do this, because if you do, then you will start to share your PowerPoint, but I'm going to do it instead. I'm clicking on the share button, and I've now got a list of the PowerPoint presentations which I have on my machine ready to rock and roll. So here I am sharing a PowerPoint screen. Some of you may have even seen me present this speech relatively recently. It's one that I deliver on board cruise ships and cruise for free. Now, you've noticed that I'm appearing in the bottom left-hand corner, which is where it starts by default. I can drag myself anywhere on the screen. I can enlarge myself. Of course, the problem with that is that if I enlarge myself in the middle, then you can't read what's behind me. And so I make myself the right size. If you are going to be doing this regularly, I would suggest that you make your PowerPoints only have half the screen, and the second half of the screen be a blank space in which you can put your picture. But once you've done that, you can then just move through your PowerPoint as you normally would, and the PowerPoint is in the background behind you, but you still remain up front. So your gestures can be seen. Your facial expressions can be seen. The things behind you can be seen. But here's the thing. I'm going to ask you, if you're not already in gallery view, click on gallery view and watch what's happened. You'll notice that while I have this huge map behind me, which goes from Taiwan on one side to Easter Island on the other side, in the gallery view, you can only see a little bit of it, the bit that is constrained by my hands. So bear that in mind, that you can't, not everything will show, and certainly it won't show in gallery view. But that's how simple it is to create a PowerPoint as background and allow you to appear in the front of the screen. You'll notice, by the way, that with this PowerPoint presentation, what is the one thing that is consistent with all of the backgrounds behind me? They are all images. I'm not using screens full of text. A, screens full of text give you death by PowerPoint at the best of times, but B, in a Zoom meeting, assume that as many as 25% of your viewers are going to be watching this on a mobile phone or on a tablet. If you've got walls of text in your PowerPoint presentation, they can't read it. They can't see it. So always bear that in mind. Those are my tech tips for today in using PowerPoint and using PowerPoint as a background. To stop it, you then stop share screen, which I have done, which allows you to see the red light come up as I finish. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Graham, for such an insightful tip of the day. It is something that we learn every meeting when we go to Online Presenters Club. Thank you for sharing that. And now I'm going to move to the next part of the evening, is introducing roles. Those people who do important, meticulous job ensuring that Online Presenters Club well presented and run smoothly. I'm going to call our counter, Rosina Duncanson. Rosina, please explain your role for this evening.
Thank you very much, Mr. Toastmaster of the day, sorry. So my role today as the R counter is to keep record of words and long pauses that are used as crutch words, such as ah, ums, your nose. so's, and so on. And so I'll be listening out throughout the meeting to see who may have used those fillers during the session and providing a report at the end of the session. Back to you.
Wow, so I better watch my language. Thank you, Rosina. Next helper who's going to do another important role for this evening is our grammarian, Marianne Grady. Please introduce your role and tell us what you're going to do.
Why, thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. As grammarian, I will be listening to all of our speakers very carefully for good word usage and improper word usage. And I'll be also listening for outstanding words, thoughts, or quotes. Back to you, Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Marian. Outstanding words, of course. And the word of the day, is it outstanding? Is it discombobulated? Am I right?
It is, and I put it in the chat along with the definition. It's an adverb, and it means confused, disconcerted, or upset. And using it in a sentence, the spokesman was completely discombobulated by the hecklers. Back to you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Marianne. And next, very interesting role for online clubs is our own watcher, David Carr, DTM. Please tell us about your role and what makes it so unique.
I think it may have been Graham who explained the watcher as being sort of a visual grammarian. So I'd be looking for things that are exceptional, as well as things that might detract in all of the things that show up on screen. And I'm not somebody who believes that everybody has to use a virtual background, but if you use it well. And if you use slides, use them well. And if you just use your own face and body as the special effects, that is just fine too, but use them well. My home club has a body language monitor, and this was sort of an evolution of that to not only look at body language, but all the other visual presentation things that go on in an online meeting. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, David, for explaining your role with such an enthusiasm. I think we're in the right, good hands. The next important person I'm going to introduce and call on this virtual stage is our own chat monitor, Jim Barber, PM1. Please explain what again makes it so special, and why is it you doing the chat monitor's role?
With pleasure, Mr. Toastmaster. As the chat monitor this evening, I will be, are you ready? Monitoring the chat. I'm doing this, I'm the best person to do this because I am inherently nosy and I love to know what's going on. So I'm going to be monitoring the chat anyway. This just makes it official. While I am monitoring the chat, I will be keeping our Toastmaster of the day informed on anything that shows up in the chat that he might need to know about. And finally, if I'm not thoroughly discombobulated during the meeting, at the end of the meeting, I will give a report on anything that our members need to go back and check out in the chat. And that's what I'm going to be doing, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chat Monitor. I think Jim is perfect candidate for this role. And last but not the least, very important person for this evening is our Vault Counter, Sunny Fridge. Please explain your role.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster of the day. As vote counter, I will be counting the votes and finding out who is the best speakers, who are the best speakers and evaluators. Back to you.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Are you going to be, how are you going to be doing it? Because we have a slightly modern way with the link, or people will have to send you votes in the chat.
Good question. Mr.
Whichever is easier for you.
I haven't done it this way before, but I like the idea of a link. Am I supposed to supply it?
I'm just
Johnny,
thinking.
I can
Okay.
tell you where to find it.
Okay, thank you
You're-
so much.
you're
Okay, as a guest,
good
I
to
don't
go.
mind doing this. It's just a little bit different than doing a poll, which is
Oh,
how
let's see,
I
actually, I think you have to be a member of the club to have it.
Oh,
Yeah, let's just do the private message
private message
version.
it is. Okay, thank you.
Well, so just to confirm, we will be voting for the best speaker, best table topics presenter, and the best evaluator today. So how you can vote, please send your message in the chat to vote counter is sign fridge. This is how we're gonna do it for this evening. Right, so we're done with introductions, and now we move into one of my favorite parts of the evening, prepared speeches. We'll have two speakers today. The first speaker is Joni-Renee Laidlaw. Joni works on Presentation Mastery Level 2, Learning Your Style, Understanding Your Communication Style. And her speech is titled The Hypathetical You. The Hypathetical You, Joni-Renee Laidlaw.
Oh my God. Seriously. Don't get discombobulated. Keep calm and carry on. Communication was always an issue for me. Now you would think that being a Toastmaster, it would be easy to communicate. But there was always a barrier that I found between what I had to say and what other people would interpret it as. For the longest time, I just could not imagine, what was I possibly doing wrong? Now, this is my, and let me emphasize this, 7th time doing this particular project, which means 7 times I tried to figure out what's my communication style. And each time I did it, I got analytic and I thought, yeah, duh, of course I am. Because if ever someone was going to overthink a situation and overanalyze every single possible cue, nuance, comment, tone, facial expression, lack of gesture, addition of gesture, movement, pace, tone. Was that passive aggressive? That was passive aggressive. It would have been me. And based on the fact that I was that way, I thought, well, so was everyone else. Everyone else was over analyzing what you say. And based on that, if something was brought up in a conversation by a direct communicator to me, I would consider it a hypothetical because I spent most of my time speaking in hypotheticals. I mean, after all, if I do say to David, you asked me to call you a banana, and when you did, my thought was this. A direct communicator would think, did she really just infer that I asked her to call me a banana? An analytic communicator would go, well, based on the hypothetical you in that situation, having been asked to refer to someone as a banana, this would be the next step in the conversation. 3/4 of my time I enjoy doing is waxing philosophical on any topic, as long as it's hypothetical. Because when it moves from the hypothetical to reality, things change a bit. It's now important. It's now direct. It's now a must and angry. Now, while I know that not all direct communicators have the tendency to be angry and talk down to persons. It is something that is associated with the style. It's very direct and to the point. And as such, if I ever switch there, I am in the let me tell you something about you that you don't know. Keep calm mode. Based on that, when I did my evaluation this time and I got supportive communicator, this was a complete 360. I had to sit and wonder, why am I no longer considered analytic? Am I not still over-evaluating everything? And then I realized feedback in Toastmasters finally kicked in. All those years of the I statement moved it from now being a hypothetical you to a proverbial I. Before I would say you, assuming persons would have put themselves in the shoes of others. Well, because of Toastmasters, what I think I do now is I've replaced the hypothetical you with the I statement. I would like you to envision yourself as the person who would call me a banana, Andrade. I would like you, Graham, to give me your opinion on if I wanted to be on a boat for free, how would I get there without becoming discombobulated? The change is actually quite profound because no matter where you fall on your communication spectrum, that simple addition of I no longer need others who may not be analytic to overanalyze a situation to understand what I'm doing. I now take the opportunity to say, this is a personal request of support in your overall cognitive function. This is me trying to get you to come outside the box with me, to think of yourself in another situation. Maybe you can empathize. Maybe you can sympathize. Maybe you can't. But the thought of being there may just change your perspective. I like being supportive now. I like the fact that while I still consider myself analytic overall with everything, please be careful about microaggressions or slight changes. And if my face does this, it's because I saw a cue of something that happened. Explain or I will overthink. Simply placed though, when I communicate now, it states I'm supportive and I'm supporting those around me. And that helps me to keep calm and carry on. Back to you, our Toastmaster of the day.
Wow, what a brilliant speech, Joni. Thank you very much. Keep calm and carry on and discombobulate it. You use the theme of the day, words of the day. Well, brilliant. That's something that caught my ear. Thank you. Second speaker on our agenda is Mr. Toru Maruyama, DTM. Mr. Maruyama works on motivational strategies, level 3 project, increasing knowledge, researching and presenting. In his introduction to the speech, Mr. Maruyama wrote, he will talk about one of the most frequently used words in English language, focusing on its history. The best American product, Mr. Toru Maruyama.
Thank you very much. Do you know the most famous expression in English language? It is a 2-letter word and it means all correct. Every one of you must use a few times a day. When you are happy or sad, you say it. When you agree or confirm, you use it. What do you think? Did you come up with the idea? What is the word? Okay, I tell you, the word is okay. American astronauts under the NASA's space program contributed to spreading this word most. When they traveled to space and had communication with the ground station, they always used okay because it's their favorite jargon. Because their conversations were broadcasted live nationwide, millions of Americans picked it up. Among many distinguished astronauts, Captain Neil Armstrong, who landed on the moon by Apollo 11 in 1969, stood out. Do you remember the conversation between the ground station and him at the moment? It was like this. Psst, Neil, this is Houston. Everything is okay? Over. Psst, Eagle has landed. Everything is A-OK. Over. Just like that. It was July 21. OK was, as it were, a gigantic and unforgettable word of the day for tens of millions of people, not only in the United States, but throughout the world, who watched it and listened to it. And they implanted the word into the brains. By 1970s, OK was accepted as a legitimate expression in America. Now, OK is extremely useful word, as you know. As an adjective, it means fine, such as when I asked her to join me, she said, okay. You can use it as a verb, as in, she okayed my proposal. I can convey the feeling of surrender. For example, whenever I quarrel with my wife, I always say, oh, okay, you win. There are numerous ways to use this word. It is convenient, flexible, and powerful. That is why it spread to every corner of this earth, crossing over the border easily, breaking all kinds of barriers of cultures, religions, and ideologies. In due time, OK was blended into the indigenous languages of many, many countries. Billions of people, men and women, young and old, children and babies are speaking, shouting, and whispering this little word every day and everywhere. OK in Chicago, OK in Santiago, OK in Paris, Budapest, Moscow, OK in Shanghai, Mumbai, Damascus, in Sydney, of course in Tokyo. OK is everywhere. It is a genuine international word, isn't it? The most interesting episode of this word is that it was born out of a joke. A journalist in New York City intentionally misspelled all correct as this, and shortened them and created the word okay. And this is the genesis of this word, believe me. No one believed and predicted this has grown into one of the most frequently spoken words in this world. It's amazing. I love this word because I believe this is the most outstanding American product. I believe this is more American than blue jeans, McDonald's, or iPhone. Because of its humble origin, it is resilient and friendly at the same time. So it is a word of democracy, isn't it? It is the word of the people, by the people, and for the people. How wonderful word it is. And I believe Americans are great because they created a world standard, super practical word out of nonsense and make it world standard. That is the ultimately American art, don't you think? Actually, I want to talk more, but the time seems to be running out. How do you like my story? Was it okay? I'm sure you must have felt A-OK, haven't you? Thank you very much, Toastmasters.
Thank you very much, Maruyama DTM and his speech, The Best American Product. I feel okay after your speech. Most of the online presenters probably feel okay as well. And with Mr. Maruyama's speech, we concluded the prepared section of the evening. I would like to ask our timer, Sarah Idahan, please update us on the speaker's time and tell us if they both qualified.
Mr. Toastmaster, both qualified. Joni was 6 minutes, 38 seconds, and Toru was 7 minutes, 16 seconds. We're not combobulated on that. Back to you.
Well, brilliant. Thank you, Sarah. And if you want to vote, and I strongly encourage you to vote for the best speaker, even if it's so hard to do. For me personally, it is. Still, there is only one winner. So please send your votes to your vote counter of the evening, Sunny Fridge. You can do it by just sending your private message on the chat for the best speaker. We have just one or two, Joni-Renee, her first speech, or Toru Maruyama with his second speech. Easy to do. Then I'm trying to keep calm, but I just cannot do it. The reason being for it is we go into the second part of the evening, and it's one of my favorite parts. Will be run by our table topics master, Kim Limin. Kim, please explain your role, what you're going to do, and what we all are waiting for.
Thank you, Toastmaster of the Day, Andrei Smolenko, fellow Toastmasters and honored guests. As Andrei mentioned, we're now entering the impromptu portion of the meeting, table topics. This is a great opportunity for everyone to improve their impromptu or off-the-cuff speaking skills. The goal is to remain calm and avoid becoming discombobulated when asked to speak about a previously unknown topic. As you know, today's theme is keep calm and carry on. I love this theme as the ability to stay calm when things around you are seemingly falling apart is a very important life skill. Before we begin, I'd like to share two quotes with you. The first is from an unknown author. If stress burned calories, I'd be a supermodel. I don't know how relevant that quote is, but I thought it was funny and it made me smile, which brings me to the second quote. Alex A. Lunch once said, studies show that laughter reduces stress, lowers blood pressure, elevates mood, and boosts the immune system. Although I had not heard that exact quote before today, those are words that I try to live by every day. I do believe that laughter is the best medicine. Now on to table topics. For each one, I will share a quote relating to keeping calm. I will then ask a related question. You will each have 1 to 2 minutes to answer. Please keep in mind that tonight's word of the day, as Andre mentioned, is discombobulated. The first table topic for tonight is, Sidney J. Harris once said, the time to relax is when you don't have time for it. The question is, what is your favorite thing to do to relax, and how do you make time for it? Toastmaster Maggie.
I just knew it's gonna be me. Thank you, Kim. The thing I would like to enjoy, relax myself currently is yoga. If you know me well, I'm kind of like energetic person. I try lots of different things. I try to be a role model for my children. So I've been doing lots of dance. I tried hip hop dance, street dance, Latin dance, and currently I have enrolled this online yoga course. And I kind of set up a new challenge for myself next year. I'm trying to do a shoulder handstand. If you don't know me well, I'm actually 60 kilograms. I don't know how much pounds in American standard, but I'm not a slim person at all. So yoga really gave me the time, really focus on myself, breathe in, breathe out, calm down, focus yourself, get rid of all the other crazy ideas, just be yourself. Be authentic, be true to who you are and how you want to be. Be appreciative to what you have done for today and just be yourself. It really gave me a peace of mind, and now it gave me a new target. So I really enjoyed it. I don't know, some of the Indian guys like to do yoga. I'm not sure anyone of our Toastmaster here would like to do. I think it's very nice way to give your muscle building and also like a cleanup of your soul. So highly recommend anyone to try it. Thank you very much, Kim. Get back to you.
Thank you, Maggie. You really motivated me to want to try yoga, and I can't wait to see your shoulder handstand. That's going to be awesome. For the second table topic, Joan Rivers once said, life goes by fast. Enjoy it. Calm down. It's all funny. Next, everyone gets so upset about the wrong things. That's the end of the quote. We all seem to have things that get us discombobulated that probably should not do so. The question is, what personality quirk drives you nuts? And do you have a plan to stay calm when confronted with this in the future? Toastmaster Marianne Grady.
Why, thank you for that question, Kim. One of the personality traits that I find difficult to contend with is when people do not listen. And I've actually struggled with that myself and have worked hard to become a better listener. And when people don't hear the words that are being said to them, not necessarily by me, but by anybody, the answer is being delivered, but they're just not hearing it. And I find that almost like stupid, because they're getting these kinds of things given to them on a silver platter. You don't have to learn it the hard way. You're just not accepting it. So in my mind, when somebody isn't listening carefully, I believe that is a big loss for them and a little bit of disrespect to the person who they're not listening to. And again, it's not a personal thing for me, but it's just when I watch them, it's kind of like, come on, man. Back to you, Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Marianne. I have to agree. I share your sentiment on that as well. For the next table topic, Lily Tomlin once said, reality is a leading cause of stress among those in touch with it. This has been especially true in light of the events over the past few years. When reality becomes stressful, what do you do to get away? Toastmaster Jim Barber.
Thank you, Madam Topics Master. What do I do to get away from reality? I am not a big fan of reality. Now, this is a change for me because I'm an engineer by education, a computer programmer by vocation. So I'm very literally oriented. But I discovered quite a few years ago that reality is not what it's cracked up to be. Reality isn't that nice as a rule. I mean, parts of it are, but you have to go searching for the good parts. Whereas the bad parts, no. The bad parts, you get inundated with them. So if you're not going to get discombobulated, if you're not going to get discombobulated by reality, what you do is you retreat. Now, in my younger days, I might have advocated drugs. I wouldn't, of course, but if I might have at that point. But I no longer think that's a good idea. Instead, I think something that is much cheaper than drugs, much better for you than drugs, and is available to everybody is your imagination. Your imagination is so much better than reality, and it's always available to you at any point. So when reality starts to gang up on you and it's beating you, it's got you backed into a corner, you're not quite sure what to do. All you do is invoke your imagination, that God-given talent that each one of us has, and imagine yourself back to happiness. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Jim. That was interesting. I've never heard anyone say that they weren't a fan of reality. Love it. My major in college was electrical engineering as well, so I do relate to that. For the fourth table topic, Hans Selye once said, "It's not stress that kills us, it's our reaction to it." What works best for you to do to relax once you start to stress out or become discombobulated? Toastmaster Rosina Duncan.
Thank you very much, Madam Table Topics Master. The type of job that I do, some days can be pretty stressful. What I find to be helpful though is when things get too bad, I like to listen to soft music, not necessarily jazz or classical music, but some type of piano or soft, relaxing music I find to be really, really helpful. I notice that music impacts moods. If you ever notice that some music that are upbeat keeps you lively and awake, and there are other music that are softer and calmer that helps to calm you down. And so when I need to calm down, I switch the music, I switch the environment. Sometimes I might get a cup of tea, and I find that taking a step back, changing the environment is really, really helpful to changing my mood. There are even times when I turn my cell phone, not necessarily off, but on Do Not Disturb, because sometimes the wrong message or the wrong ring may really add to the stress levels. And so my advice and my recommendations have been shut off the phone, change the music, change the environment, and just pause for just a bit, and then get back to the real world. Back to you, Table Talks Master.
Thank you, Rosina. We're now on to the fifth table topic. Williams James once said, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." What are your happy thoughts? What do you think about to make you smile and de-stress? Toastmaster David Carr.
Did you repeat the quote again one more time? It was
I certainly can. William James once said, "The greatest weapon against stress is our ability to choose one thought over another." What are your happy thoughts, and what do you think about to make you smile and de-stress?
Sure. I have happy thoughts. I guess I do. But when I'm thoroughly stressed, I do not remember my happy thoughts. I guess the notion is that you can control your own mind. You can take control of it, and you can steer those aggravated thoughts, that tension, you can steer it in a more positive direction. But in the moment, when I'm stressed, I am busy being stressed. And when I am busy being stressed, I forget. I'm not going to think of the quotes of the wise man, the great psychologist. I'm going to think of what is aggravating me at that moment. So it's a lovely thought. And it's a thought that I should internalize and steer in the right direction. But I don't know. When I'm stressed, I'm going to concentrate on gritting my teeth and driving up my blood pressure as high as possible until my head explodes. Like the guys in Scanners. Do you remember the Saturday Night Live, or maybe it was Second City review of Scanners? And then his head blowed up real good. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, David. That was quite the graphic visual on the head blowing up. So I've been informed that we have time for one more table topics. So here's the last one. George Burns once said, if you ask what is the single most important key to longevity, I would have to say it's avoiding worry, stress, and tension. And if you didn't ask me, I'd still have to say it. That is a funny saying, and George Burns was a very funny man. Do you use humor to de-stress when you become discombobulated? And if so, how? Toastmaster Graham Carnes.
Topics Master Kim, I had a feeling that this was going to be coming my way. I have to tell you that I use humor all the time as a way of diffusing situations. I have a self-deprecating sense of humor, as anybody who has ever heard me give a presentation will recognize. And I do that because it removes barriers between me and those that I am talking to. The problem with using humor to de-stress a situation is that you have to use yourself as the object, the butt of the joke. Because if you use somebody else as the butt of the joke, that doesn't do a lot to diffuse stress, I have to tell you. I have been a smart aleck all my life, as you might have gathered, and that can lead to further problems. So what do I do if I am facing a situation and I want to de-stress? If it's something that I have to do that involves other people, I will make jokes with myself as the butt. If it's something that I have to deal with on my own, I just look at the absurdity of the situation. And I remember a line that somebody once said to me many, many years ago. The thing about life is that nobody gets out of it alive. And that's true. No matter how bad things are, there's only two things that can happen. Things can get better or they can get worse. If they get worse, then you live through it or you die. In any case, there is no other solution than to just keep going. So humor is a great stress reliever in a situation where you use yourself as the butt of the jokes. I wouldn't suggest making fun of somebody else, or if you're going to, always remember to punch up, not punch down. But if you've got to use humor yourself, then just remember, nobody gets out of life alive, so just enjoy it while you can. Madam Topics Master.
Thank you, Graham. I too do the self-deprecating humor, which is my whole thing behind Blondini, as you guys have met a couple times. Blondini, the dumb blonde magician. Timer Sarah Idahen, could we please have a timers report for the table topics? And could you please post it in the chat as well?
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Maggie, 1 minute, 48 seconds. Marianne, 1 minute, 11 seconds. Jim Barber, 1 minute, 48 seconds. Rosina, 1 minute, 21 seconds. David, 1 minute, 56 seconds. And Graham, 2 minutes, 11 seconds. Everybody qualifies.
Thank you, Sarah. Now, could everyone please cast your vote for the best table topic speaker? This is going to be a tough one. Everybody answered them so great, and it was really fun and interesting answers. So I want to thank everyone for that, for making my role so easy, and it was very fun. And back to you, Toastmaster of the Day, Andre Smolenko.
Thank you very much, Kim, for your insightful and really interesting table topics. Really enjoy them. And everyone was just feeling on the edge of the seat. Please don't ask me. Please don't ask me. This is the feeling I get. Thank you. And now, another interesting part of the evening is evaluation. Evaluation online presenters is one of our specialities. And the head chef for this specialty tonight is our general evaluator, Carolina Ramirez. Please take it away.
Thank you, Andre. You're right. We have very good evaluators in this club. And we're going to start with the first evaluator of tonight, this evening, or maybe this morning. She's Adrienne Williams, and she's going to evaluate Joni's speech. Welcome, Adrienne.
Fellow Toastmasters and guests, it is my pleasure to evaluate Joni's speech, and of course, Joni. The title of her speech was Hypathetical You, and I thought that was an interesting heading. I just want to let you know that the purpose statements for her speech tonight was: 1, the purpose of the project was for the member to learn about different communication styles and identify his or her primary style. And secondly, the purpose of the speech was for the member to share the impact of his or her style on others. She definitely did that. She talked about how when we're talking to people, we have to learn how to transition from you saying you do this to I suggest this, that, and the other. And that was something that was very relevant to all of us. And the beginning of the speech was a little bit discombobulated because we could not understand what was going on. There was feedback or noise or something going on. And I was actually trying to get people to mute because I wasn't sure where it was. So just be aware of, I don't know, maybe the volume too high or something that caused it. So in the beginning of your speech, I couldn't really hear you. And so I missed part of that, but I am going to do my best to deliver you an effective evaluation. Some of the things that I thought that you did extremely well: when you speak, you are very confident about your topic. You know exactly what you're going to talk about. You've done this a zillion times. So it's just like you can roll this thing off 1, 2, 3. And that is a good thing. However, it was like you had an appointment. You were rushing through that thing so fast, and you had a lot of time left in your evaluation and your time. So I want to encourage you to just slow it down a tad. Let us marinate in what you're talking about. You know, we're Toastmasters. We love to know what you're going to talk about. Like, tell us what you're going to talk about and then talk about it so that we can follow you. Because there was one part that I just really was kind of lost in your speech and I didn't know where you were headed with it. So by the time we got to the end, I'm like, okay, it would have been great for you to have included some evaluations, communication styles, like direct, authoritative. That would have helped us to understand how the project related to your speech as far as your goals of that particular speech. It helps us to understand, because I have this direct communication style, and I can say that because I have this problem, I can be very direct. I should have been a judge or something, right? It is something I have to be aware of when I'm speaking, because I can be so direct that it can come across offensive, and I definitely never have that intention. And so I want you to just include some of those things in your speech on that. Some of the other things I thought you did, it was good when you talked about the transition from you to I. You gave us some examples that was very good on that. So just be aware to slow it down Give us the time to follow you. Make us want that information that you have and make it relevant to us. Otherwise, you did a great job. Thank you for your speech. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Adrienne. Great evaluation. Our second evaluator is Rick Darling. He's going to evaluate Toru's speech. Welcome, Rick. You are on mute.
Isn't that the most famous speech that you can make with regard whenever you're on Zoom? Good evening, everybody, and especially to Toru. I very much enjoyed your speech today. Given that this was a research topic, I believe you definitely met the objectives of the project from the standpoint of the research you did. You used a very nice flow throughout the entire speech, and I liked a lot of things that you did with it as well. For instance, your voice was definitely clear and understandable. I did not have any trouble understanding the words or the things that you were trying to convey. I also found the pacing to be very, very good. It was appropriate in all cases, and in places you used pauses very effectively. One thing I definitely want to compliment you on is when you got to the part where you described that A-OK or OK had spread to every corner of the world, I really liked the use of facial gestures at that point in time. And there were other places where you did similar things, where you scrunched up your face or you made it clear that this was something that was kind of interesting. So well done on those items. A couple of things for you to consider. One, you were standing or sitting entirely too close to the camera, as much as you are right now. And that made it extremely difficult for us to see any hand gestures you were using. So give some consideration to moving back a little bit so that we can see your hands. Hands can be an important part of a speech, and I really would like to see you enhance your speeches with some gestures. Another item is you seem to be looking to one side or below the camera. I'm not sure if that was for a specific reason, but regardless, something that you can try to do in the future is put something near the camera that will bring your attention back to it. In so doing, you will, by coming back to that single item, come back to establishing eye contact with the audience. I think that's a very powerful technique, and you can still look around the room. It's actually somewhat appropriate to break eye contact. So it's not a bad thing to break it, but you've got to come back to the camera and bring the audience back in so that they know that you still want their attention. It will help you command their attention. Now, in terms of something for you to consider for a future speech, I personally like to stand when I give a speech. I get a lot of benefits out of standing, not the least of which I feel far more confident standing on my feet. And I know the audience reacts well to me standing. It also makes it possible for anybody to see much more of my body movement. I can lean into the camera. I can use my hands far more effectively. So give some thought to standing for a speech in the future and just see how it works for you. Overall, I liked your speech, some ideas for you to give to try out, and I'm looking forward to your next speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Rick. Ms. Timer, all the evaluators are qualified?
Yes, all qualified, Madam General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Sarah. And this vote will be very difficult. Please send your vote to our vote counter, Sunny, and she will receive by the chat your votes. Now it's time for the counter report. Welcome, Rosina.
Thank you very much, General Evaluator. As I mentioned earlier, my job was to listen out for persons that use the crutch words throughout the session. I will say this, you all did a fabulous job. There was just one or two ums or so's, but there were not enough for me to give a full report. I won't call that person out. However, it is imperative to just take note of using these words because they take away from wonderful speeches. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Rosina. And I love this club because every Monday I learned about a new word because I'm a native Spanish speaker, and the word today was very difficult. Welcome our grammarian, Marianne Grady.
Well, thank you, Madam General Evaluator. Apparently it wasn't too difficult because a lot of people used it a lot of times. We had Andre used it several times, Jim Barber, Joni used it a couple times, Sarah, and I think Kim Leeming had the record. It was probably like 5 times or so in her segment. So it was well used tonight. So a good word for the evening. Some of the things that I wanted to just bring up for the evening, I didn't really see a lot of misuse of the language, but some interesting things were Toru. I loved all the ways he explained how we use okay, and I liked his phrase, okay is everywhere. Maggie said, be authentic, be true, be yourself. Good advice. Jim Barber had a lot of interesting quotes this time. Not a big fan of reality, literally oriented. When reality starts to gang up on you, and invoke your imagination. I really like that one a lot. David said, his head blowed up real good. And while that is not grammatically correct, it was a very interesting sentence and it really caught our attention. Graham said smart aleck, which is a word you don't hear a lot these days. And he also said the thing about life is that nobody gets out alive, so enjoy it while you can. Also very good advice. Now, I listened and one of the sentences used by Rick Durling was, I very much enjoyed your speech. And I was thinking it wasn't grammatically correct, but it was in fact grammatically correct, but a not common usage. So just, if it sounds a little off, just want to let you know it was grammatically correct. And the more common way would be saying, I enjoyed your speech very much. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Marianne. Mr. Watcher, how do we look?
Well, you're looking good tonight. You're looking good tonight, online presenters. I wanted to mention that in addition to some people having various logo type treatments of keep calm and carry on, there's some people who decided to pick peaceful scenes like Rosina's candles and calm stones in the background, and Rick's peaceful river scene. Thought that was kind of fun. Kim, I don't know whether she's thinking peaceful with the waves crashing in the background, but it kind of appropriate for Labor Day weekend. Probably should have spent more of it on the beach myself. I think the star for visual presentation today was Toru. Starting with the bow tie, and when he started his speech, he took a moment to straighten his bow tie, which is a fun thing that you can do with a bow tie. Now he's already been critiqued on the eye contact, and I noticed that he was making excellent eye contact with somebody down here for a good part of the speech. And just as at some point I was going to say, oh no, wait a minute, he's corrected himself and he's making very good eye contact with the camera, but then you lost it again a little bit later on. So something to work on. We all find it to be challenging because it's an unnatural act, as you're not looking into the face of the person, you're looking at this little lights on your laptop. I also enjoyed the graphic showing the evolution of all correct into all correct with an O and a K, and how it turned into okay. And this turns out to be the fault of a journalist, as most things are. So thank you, Toru. You win the best visuals of the day. General evaluator.
Thank you very much, David. Mr. Chat Monitor Jim, we are ready for your report.
Well, here it comes then, Madam Madam General Evaluator. The chat was very active tonight. There were a lot of good conversations going on. However, most of them dealt with what was happening at that particular time. And so it's not anything that people need to keep in mind. One thing that came out really well is that several people noted that they were interested in learning more about cruising for free. And consequently, people do read the chat. Graham has agreed to give a speech next week on how to go on cruise ships for almost free. And so the chats do work, and we're looking forward to that, Graham. That's it, Madam GE.
Thank you very much, Jim. Now, drums for the winners. Sunny, are you ready for your report?
I am, Madam General Evaluator. And the winner is, for Best Speaker, the winner is Toru. Woo! Congratulations. And the Best Tabletop Speaker is, it was very close, Jim Barber. Jim, congratulations. Woohoo! And last but not least, our Best Speech Evaluator, the people have spoken, is Rick. Or they voted at least. And that is my report. Congratulations to everyone. I really enjoyed seeing these winners. Everyone is a winner actually for showing up. Back to you, Madam GE.
Thank you very much, Sunny. Congratulations to all of you. You did a great job, very professional in your roles. And saying this, I pass the meeting back to Andre, our Toastmaster of the day.
Oh, thank you very much, Madam General Evaluator Karina. I'll be brief. Just keep calm and carry on attending online presenters meeting. Today, we did something interesting, something new, Facebook Live on our Facebook page, and then the official online presenters group. It's about 20,000 people. We are Inventive Club. So come back next Monday and sign up for the roles. And is going back to our club president, Andrew Byrne. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Andre. You did a fantastic job. I'm waiting to hear feedback from David and whoever else is monitoring our Facebook page on how well this came out. I see everyone was dressed well, so that will show itself up well on the Facebook as well, I am hoping. But we had a great time. I thank all the speakers for the tremendous preparation they gave in doing their speeches, and Graham sparking interest in cruising. One of my club members, who is now 97, has done 80 cruises because of not only his speaking on the cruises, but he also learned how to do magic and became a certified magician. So he did both of those things. Good things to know, and I'm glad everyone's excited about that. The Tech Point was also very well received, and that's another unique feature of our club. If you have certain things you want to learn more about, send it in the chat, send it to me, send it to David, and we'll see about getting someone to talk about that particular interest area that you have. As far as that goes, one last point. We had a wonderful international competition in Nashville, and it's all available to every single one of you for $45 for video on demand. It will be there until October 26th. All you do is go to the Toastmasters master page and click on I want to get the video on demand program, and you can get it. I recommend it strongly. You had 4 areas of growth that they had in there. You had the business meeting to know all about what the organization is doing at their board meeting. You saw the elections taking place, and you saw the world competition of public speaking. A lot that you can absorb from all those different activities. I encourage it. Just $45. Also, we are moving into September. We are in September. And what everyone should know is that this is the time to do your renewals. I'm sure Sarah's going to send out a memo about that as our treasurer, but be aware, taking responsibility, send in your money as soon as possible so that we don't have to worry about receiving your money and getting you all logged in. In order for a club to maintain an active status, you need a minimum of 8 members renewed. That should be easy if every club officer sends their dues in right away. But really, we should have most of our members who are regular attendees send it in so that we don't have to worry about this. Back to you, Toastmaster today. Oh, before we go, I wanted to talk about the guests that we have. I see Petra, I believe you're a guest. Could you just share with us your thoughts of this meeting, your impressions?
Thank you so much for your invitation, Dr. Byrne, President of Online Presenters. The theme of your meeting, I suspect, is keep calm and carry on. And may I say that I cannot keep calm today because your meeting has been so fantastic. And it's real early in the morning in Thailand. So I missed part of the meeting. I came to the last part of the first speaker's speech. And from then on, I could not keep calm. And what I will remember for a long time after this meeting is David Carr's Table Topics Answer, talking about stress and what happy moments that he could think about to de-stress himself. And I can see his struggle to come up with answer. I love it. It was so natural. He had that sincerity, honesty. Yeah, I love it. And I can see that stressing for David actually doesn't need any happy moment to de-stress himself. He loves stress and he would like to stress to the max. So I would like to take also one word from the speaker, the winner speaker, that it is okay to stress. People are okay with a lot of things. So I second you, David, and I love your answer. And I would say that everything at this meeting is okay and unforgettable. And I love every minute of it. I cannot keep calm. Thank you so much, Dr. Byrne.
All right.
Petra, thank you for your thoughts. We welcome you next week, and perhaps you'll be thinking about how you would like to become a member of our club and bring some of your friends along with you.
Hey, folks, speaking of members, remember a guy named Marty?
Hey, Marty.
Marty.
Welcome back, Marty. Thanks for coming back.
I finally got myself back together. It took been over a month in the hospital, another couple of months in rehab, but I think I'm in condition to